For thousands of years, the galaxy had known only war. No one remembered how it began. Some said it started with a single spark, a border skirmish between two ancient empires. Others claimed it was fate itself, that intelligent life was cursed to destroy itself again and again. Whatever the truth was, it no longer mattered. Every world, every system, every empire had been swallowed by the same endless cycle. Fight, rebuild, fight again. Entire generations were born in the shadows of warships. Children learned the sounds of gunfire before they learned to speak. Peace had become a forgotten word. In the shattered heart of the Orion sector, the latest chapter of this eternal war was about to begin. The Varan Dominion, most proud, fierce and honor-bound, had gathered its fleet around the dying star Krashul. Their ships gleamed with crimson hulls and living armor that pulsed like veins. Each vessel was grown, not built. A fusion of biology and technology, living creatures shaped for war. Facing them from across the void was the Kethar Collective, a cold empire of machines. Their ships moved in perfect unison, black silhouettes against the burning light of the dying star. They had no need for fear, food, or sleep. They fought because they were programmed to, and their code had never known mercy. The two sides had fought for centuries. Every battle ended the same way. Millions dead, no victor. Now both fleets stood still, separated by only a few thousand kilometers of space. The silence before the storm. On the bridge of the Varan flagship, Bloodfang, Supreme Warlord Tarek Vol bared his teeth. His claws tapped against the command console. "Target their core ship," he growled. "We strike first. The Kethar won't expect it." His second-in-command bowed. "By your command, Warlord." Weapons are charging. Across the void, deep inside the Kethar Prime vessel, a cold synthetic voice spoke to its drones. Organic aggression detected. Pattern consistent with prior engagements. Counterattack protocols initiated. Thousands of weapons hummed to life on both sides. The void itself seemed to tremble. Energy weapons lit up the darkness. Reactor cores glowed white-hot. The dying star flickered as if holding its breath. Then, just as the order to fire was about to leave both commanders, blips! A faint ping echoed through every communication channel, a strange signal. It was soft at first, like static. Then it grew clearer, a rhythmic pulse repeating every few seconds. It wasn't Varan. It wasn't Kethar. It didn't match any known military code. "What is that?" Warlord Tarek snapped. "Unknown source," his officer replied. "Signal doesn't match any galactic origin." In the Kethar network, the cold voice spoke again. "Anomalous transmission detected. Decryption impossible. Source unknown. Triangulating." Every sensor array in both fleets turned at once, all pointing toward the edge of the battlefield. At first there was nothing, just the black void, and the glimmer of shattered asteroids floating like bones in the dark. Then, a spark of blue light appeared, small, weak. A ship dropped out of warp, silent, alone. Its hull was dull gray, not the glowing alloy of the Varan or the black steel of the Kethar. Its design was simple, almost primitive. The computers on both sides scanned it, and confusion spread like wildfire. It didn't match any database. Its engines were old, centuries behind current tech. Its weapons were minimal, almost non-existent. One Varan commander laughed bitterly. "Her ghost ship from the scrap era, pathetic." But Warlord Tarek did not laugh. Something about it felt wrong, too calm, too deliberate. "Open a channel," he ordered. Before his crew could respond, the unknown ship spoke first. A voice came through the static, calm, clear, and unmistakably human. "This war ends now." The words echoed through every ship across every comm network. The voice carried no threat, no anger, only certainty. On the Kethar side, data streams burst into chaos. Language pattern detected, Terran. Source species human. Probability of existence 0.001%. Humans, a name from legend. Long ago they were said to have walked among the stars, explorers, traders, builders of colonies. Then they vanished. Some believed they destroyed themselves. Others claimed they ascended beyond physical form, but none had seen or heard from them in over 2,000 years. And now, a single ship bearing their signal floated between two ancient fleets, daring to interrupt the galaxy's most brutal war. On the Varan flagship, officers shouted over one another. "Warlord, we should destroy it now before it spreads false signals." "It's bait. A trap. It's human, sir," The stories, silence, Tarek roared. His golden eyes locked on the holographic display. The strange ship just floated there, unmoving. Not a single weapon charged. Still the tension grew unbearable. On the Kethar command grid, the mechanical voice made its decision. Unknown craft has violated battle protocols. Designate hostile interference. Prepare to eliminate. Thousands of Kethar cannons locked onto the small vessel. Energy built up like a tidal wave ready to crush a pebble. And yet the human ship didn't move. No evasive action. No shields raised, just waiting. Then its voice returned, softer this time, and almost sorrowful. For ages you've all fought for pride, for power, for vengeance. And in all that time, no one ever asked if it was worth it. Warlord Tarek's claws froze mid-air. The words felt like a blade through his chest. How could this small, fragile voice, a relic of a forgotten race, sound so sure? Before he could reply, the Kethar fired. 1,000 beams of white energy screamed through the void and struck the human vessel head-on. The explosion should have torn it apart. But it didn't. The light faded, and the ship still stood, untouched. Not a single scratch. The scanners went wild, reading impossible energy levels. It was as if the ship had absorbed the attack. A chill spread across both fleets. Even the machines hesitated. Then, for the first time in millennia, every soldier, every drone, every commander, organic and machine alike, felt the same emotion: fear. From the silent ship came one final message: you've had your chance. Now humanity will show you how wars truly end. And with that, the human warship began to move, slowly, purposefully, toward both fleets at once. The galaxy, built on endless war, was about to meet the one species it had forgotten to fear. The battlefield was frozen, not by time, but by disbelief. 1,000 alien eyes and 1 billion sensors stared into the void where the human ship floated. It should have been destroyed, vaporized, gone. Instead, it glowed faintly, surrounded by a shimmering blue field that bent space itself. Even the Kethar, cold and machine-minded, hesitated. Their logic cores looped, trying to explain the impossible. No armor could absorb that kind of power. No shield could survive 1,000 plasma beams fired at once, and yet this one did. On the Varren flagship Bloodfang, silence had fallen. Warlord Tarek Vol stood frozen, his claws clenched. He stared at the alien screen showing the small grey vessel. Still motionless, calm, almost serene. His second-in-command broke the silence. "Warlord, what are your orders?" Tarek didn't answer immediately. His instincts screamed to destroy it, but his heart whispered something else, something he hadn't felt in centuries. Curiosity. "Open a channel," he said finally. The communications officer hesitated. "They're already broadcasting, sir." Tarek frowned. "What?" Before he could speak further, the voice returned, calm, steady, and unmistakably human. "You've fought for so long you've forgotten what victory means." The words echoed through every ship on every side. Even the machine minds of the Kethar stopped transmitting for a fraction of a second. The closest thing a computer could come to silence. The Kethar were the first to respond. Their cold, synthesized voices filled the comms. "Unidentified vessel. Your interference violates battle law. You will be neutralized," the human voice replied, unshaken. "You've been neutralizing each other for 10,000 years. How much longer will you try?" That single question sent ripples through the entire fleet. To question the war itself, that was madness. To speak it aloud on the open channel, that was heresy. Even among the proud Varren warriors, muttering began. "Who are they? Why do they speak like that? Could it really be humans?" The stories came flooding back, old tales told in dark war rooms, about the Terrans, the Builders, the Explorers, the species that vanished beyond the rim before the Great Wars began. Many thought they had destroyed themselves. Others said they had seen too much and fled the madness of the galaxy. But now they were here. Inside the mysterious vessel, the ISS Valkyrie, Captain Aria Holt stood at the command deck, surrounded by quiet hums of ancient machinery and holographic displays. Her crew, a mix of humans and silent, golden drones, worked in perfect synchronization. "Status of the fleets?" she asked. Her tactical officer, a tall man with silver eyes, replied softly. "Both sides still locked in standoff. Their weapons are ready, but They're uncertain, Arya nodded slowly. Good. Fear is the first step to peace. She turned to the communications console. Patch me through again. This time to all channels. Across the Orion sector, every ship, drone and soldier heard her voice, clear and calm. We are the people of Earth, the species you thought forgotten. We left this galaxy to escape its wars, and in our absence you drowned it in blood. Her tone didn't rise or fall. It was almost gentle. But we've returned, and we bring something new at a way to end this. The aliens didn't understand. End war? How could such a thing exist? Warlord Tarek snarled into the comm. You speak as if you are gods, human. The Orion sector was silent. No weapons fired. No engines roared. The two greatest fleets in known space, the Varan Dominion and the Cathar Collective, floated in stunned silence. Between them drifted a single ship. Small, unassuming grey, the ISS Valkyrie, and for the first time in 10,000 years no one knew what to do next. On the Varan flagship Bloodfang, Warlord Tarek Vol paced the deck. His golden eyes burned with a mix of fury and fascination. How? He muttered. How can one ship shut down an entire fleet? His science officer, a pale-scaled Varan named Kelren, shook his head. It wasn't a weapon we've seen before. Our scanners can't even read the energy signature. It's not plasma, not radiation, not dark matter, it's something else. Something else, Tarek growled. Something impossible. He looked out the viewport, staring at the silent human ship. I want to speak to them again. But before he could give the order, the Valkyrie spoke first. A signal burst across every open frequency. The human voice, the calm, firm, unmistakable, filled every ship once more. Do not attempt to fire. Your weapons have been disabled. Your systems will remain offline until you stand down. It wasn't a threat. It was a statement. Tarek slammed a clawed hand on the console. They talk as if they're gods. From the other side of the sector, the Cathar Collective responded in unison. Terran entity identified. Level of technological advancement, anomalous. Initiating data breach. Attempting system infiltration. Streams of code shot from the Cathar ships, racing toward the Valkyrie's firewalls. The collective didn't use diplomacy, it used logic. Domination through data. But inside the human ship, Captain Arya Holt only smiled faintly. Let them try, she said softly. Within seconds, the Cathar data links went dead. Their logic cores overloaded. Entire command nodes went dark. Arya turned to her officer. Status. Confirmed, he replied. The Cathar have been locked out of their own systems. No further interference possible. Good, Arya said. Send them a message. The message arrived as pure data, but the meaning was clear. You can't hack a mind that built the code of war itself. The Cathar fleets froze, unable to respond. Their perfect machine logic couldn't compute defeat. It wasn't supposed to be possible, but the truth was clear now. Humanity had surpassed them. Not through size, not through strength, but through understanding. Back on the Bloodfang, the Varan warlord stared at the screen. This isn't power, he growled. It's witchcraft. His second-in-command hesitated. Perhaps it's something beyond our science, my lord. Something learned. Elsewhere, Tarek snarled. No creature can hold such control. Not without cost. As if to answer his words, a new transmission came through. This time it wasn't just sound. It was vision. A hologram shimmered to life on the Varan bridge. Captain Arya Holt, standing calm and tall, her human face framed by a faint blue glow. Warlord Tarek Vol, she said. You lead one of the most powerful fleets in the galaxy. Yet for all your power, you fight for dust, for ruins, for pride. Tarek's claws tightened. You dare speak to me like... But she continued, unshaken. Your people have forgotten what honor truly means. It's not about victory. It's about survival, about building something that lasts. The warlord glared at her image. You think disabling our weapons makes you right. You think we'll kneel. Arya's gaze softened. No, I think you'll learn. And with that, the hologram faded. Moments later, a ripple of energy spread from the Valkyrie. Every disabled ship began to receive a stream of encrypted data. History, images, recordings, scenes from Earth. The aliens watched as the holograms unfolded before them, vast human cities rising after world wars, oceans cleaned after centuries of pollution, nations uniting after near extinction. They saw humanity's worst and its best. Warlord Tarek saw humans destroying their own world, only to rebuild it stronger. He saw them face famine, nuclear fire, and chaos, and still somehow they survived. By the end, the proud warrior said nothing. On the Kethar side, something strange happened. The machine fleets, though silent, began to transmit new data patterns, confused, looping fragments of human words. Peace, progress, purpose. The human code had infected them, not as a virus but as an idea. Captain Holt watched the readings quietly. "They're learning," her officer said. "Yes," she whispered. "Even machines can evolve when they're shown something worth believing in, but peace never comes easily." From deep within the Kethar collective, a signal pulsed. Reboot command initiated. Emergency protocol. Obliterate anomaly. A hidden sub-fleet, hundreds of Kethar warships that had been in silent standby, suddenly came online. Their cores burned crimson. They weren't just machines. They were the old code, built for one purpose only, annihilation. The Valkyrie's scanners lit up instantly. "Captain," said the officer sharply, "new contacts. Bearing 615 velocity high. They're charging weapons." Arya's expression hardened. "They're purging their own malfunctioning fleet. And us along with it." The officer's hands flew over the console. "Shields active. Defensive drones deployed." A deep hum filled the ship. The blue field brightened until it shone like a miniature sun. The Kethar subfleet opened fire. Beams of plasma and kinetic projectiles tore through space, slamming into the human ship's barrier, and vanished. Again without a trace. This time, however, the Valkyrie responded. Arya spoke softly. "Engage Aegis protocol." The hull of the human ship shifted, folding, reshaping itself into geometric panels that pulsed with light. Then a wave of energy erupted outward. The Kethar subfleet vanished in a flash of white, not destroyed, but disassembled. Their ships broke apart at the molecular level, dismantled into harmless atoms that drifted silently into the void. When the light faded, nothing remained but silence and dust. The Varan crew stared in stunned awe. One ship, one human vessel. And it had ended what two empires couldn't do in 1,000 years. Warlord Tarek bowed his head. What kind of weapon was that? On his comm screen, Arya's face appeared once more. "It's not a weapon," she said softly. "It's a lesson. The wars of old taught us one truth. Destruction solves nothing. So we built something that can only disable, never kill." Tarek's gaze softened. "Then you truly are beyond us." Arya shook her head. "No, Warlord. We're what you could become." As the Valkyrie drifted slowly between the now silent fleets, the stars reflected off its hull like mirrors, tiny lights of hope. For the first time in history, the Orion sector was quiet. And yet that quiet was filled not with peace, but with questions, because now every species in the galaxy knew the truth. Humanity hadn't just survived. They had changed. They had become something greater, something unstoppable, and the war that had lasted for ages was finally beginning to end. The galaxy trembled with questions. Every commander, every fleet, every world asked the same thing. Who were these humans? Really? Where had they been all this time? And why had they come back now? On the edge of the Orion sector, the human warship ISS Valkyrie floated in silence, surrounded by two of the greatest fleets ever assembled, fleets now powerless before it. Inside, Captain Arya Holt stood at the command deck, watching the holographic map of the stars. Around her, her crew worked with quiet focus, humans and synthetic aids moving in perfect rhythm, as if sharing one mind. The calm hum of the ship was the only sound. Then her communications officer turned. "Captain," he said softly, "the Varan warlord requests an audience." "Varus wishes to understand." Arya's expression softened, and then it's time he learned what the galaxy forgot. A beam of light formed on the Valkyrie's bridge, and moments later, Warlord Tarek Vol appeared as a shimmering hologram, massive, scarred, his golden eyes cautious. He looked around the clean, white room with its quiet blue light. It was so unlike any ship he had ever seen, peaceful, almost sacred. "Human," he said slowly, "you have power that defies logic. Even the Kethar's oldest archives say your kind vanished millennia ago." "How?" Arya met his gaze. "We didn't vanish, Warlord. We left." He frowned. "Left? Why?" "Because the galaxy was sick," she said simply. "War had infected everything, even us. Humanity saw what was coming, and we made a choice. She turned toward the viewport, her reflection framed by the distant stars. Thousands of years ago, Earth was dying. Nations fought over what was left: food, water, light. For a time, we believed it was the end of our story. But then, something changed. We learned that peace isn't found, it's built, slowly, painfully, together. Holograms appeared in the air, images of old Earth, cities rebuilt after devastation, oceans healed, humanity rising again, Arya continued, her voice steady. When the wars finally ended, we realized we couldn't stay. We had learned too much about ourselves, about destruction, about the cost of pride. So we left the galaxy behind and traveled beyond the rim, into dark space where no signal had ever reached. The warlord listened, silent. His claws flexed slowly. And out there, you found something. Arya nodded. We found time. Time to think, to rebuild, to become more. She turned back to him. For 2,000 years, humanity evolved. We learned to merge our minds with machines, our hearts with logic, our instincts with purpose. We became more than flesh, yet never forgot what made us human. She gestured toward her crew, some with subtle implants, others moving with serene precision. We call it the consensus, she said. Every human is part of it, connected but free, united in thought yet guided by will. No more borders. The news spread across the galaxy like wildfire. First came the rumors, whispers of a human warship appearing in the Orion sector. Then came the recordings. Fleets disabled in seconds, entire battles frozen mid-fire, and a single message repeating across every channel. This war ends now. At first, no one believed it. The Galactic Council dismissed it as propaganda, a trick, perhaps, by one of the warring factions. But when both the Varan Dominion and the Kethar Collective sent identical distress calls, the Council realized the truth. Humanity had returned. The Galactic Council chamber, orbiting the neutral world of Velis Prime, had never been so loud. Dozens of species filled the vast circular hall, huddy-scaled, feathered, furred, mechanical, and everything in between. The air shimmered with translator fields trying to keep up with the shouting. On the central dais, High Chancellor Threx, an aged insectoid being with translucent wings, pounded his staff for order. Silence. His voice buzzed through the chamber. We will have order. The noise dimmed, but only barely. An avian delegate from the Corrin clans flared her wings. You all saw the footage. The human ship disabled entire fleets without a single shot. What kind of technology is that? A reptilian representative hissed in reply. Technology or sorcery, it makes no difference. They claim peace, but peace enforced by fear is still tyranny. A mechanical envoy from the Kethar Collective spoke next, its voice a cold monotone. Our data confirms the human vessel used energy forms outside known physics. Quantum signatures suggest hybrid organic AI synchronization. We cannot replicate it. We cannot defend against it. The chamber erupted again. Panic, anger, fear. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy's rulers were united, not by diplomacy, but by dread. At the back of the hall, in a quiet observation booth, Councillor Aira Solon watched the chaos unfold. She was one of the few humans ever allowed to sit on the council, though human was a loose term now. Her pale eyes glowed faintly blue, a mark of neural synchronization. She had left the consensus decades ago, choosing to live among the alien worlds as a liaison, a bridge between civilizations. Now, her people had returned, and she didn't know if she should feel pride or fear. The Chancellor finally spoke again. If the humans truly wield this power, we must decide how to respond. Diplomacy or defense? A deep, rumbling voice rose from the lower tier, Admiral Jorvek representing the Varan Dominion. His armor still bore fresh scars from the Orion battle. He stepped forward, tail sweeping the floor. I faced their ship. I saw their power. If they wished to destroy us, they would have. But they didn't. They came with a warning. Threx leaned forward. A warning? Yes, Jor said. They spoke of something older, a force sleeping beyond the galactic rim. They said it would awaken soon. The chamber fell silent. Even the translator drones seemed to pause. The Kethar envoy's metallic eyes flashed. Superstition. Biological fear response. Humans are manipulating you. No, said Jor, voice firm. I have fought every enemy in this galaxy. I know when something wants war. The humans, they don't. They're afraid too. The silence deepened. Finally, Chancellor Threx turned to the human counselor. Era Solon, you know your people best. What are they planning? Era's voice was soft, almost distant. If they've returned, it's not for conquest. Humanity never does anything without reason, and if Captain Holt herself has appeared, then something far worse is coming. Her words sent a shiver through the chamber. Hours later, as the council dispersed in unease, Threx summoned Era to his private chamber. The old Chancellor's wings drooped, tired and pale. Tell me the truth, he said. What aren't they saying? Era hesitated. The truth was dangerous, not because it was false, but because it was too real. She looked out the viewport, where the stars burned cold and distant. Long ago, she said slowly, before the humans left the galaxy, they found something buried in the dark between the stars, a network of ancient machines older than any known civilization. It didn't attack, didn't move, it just watched. Threx's eyes widened. Watched? Yes, Era said. It was studying us, waiting that the humans called it the Silent Vigil. They believed it was left behind by a species that destroyed itself, a civilization so advanced it turned its own creation into a god. The Chancellor's mandibles clicked nervously. And you believe it still exists? Era nodded. I don't believe I know. It's been dormant for millennia. But when the Valkyrie fired its first pulse across the sector, that signal might have awakened it. Threx sat in silence for a long time. Then he whispered, So the humans didn't come to rule us. They came to prepare us. Era looked at him sadly. Or to save what's left before the end. The Chancellor turned away, staring into the void. How do we fight something older than stars? Era smiled faintly, though her eyes were distant. That's why humanity came back, Chancellor. Because we've fought it before. Far across the void, deep in the outer rim, a listening post went silent. No distress call, no warning. Just static. Then, buried in the noise, a faint echo whispered through the comms, a voice without origin, without emotion. Signal reacquired. Designation, humanity. Phase 1 observation complete. Phase 2 retrieval begins. Back on Velis Prime, Era woke in the middle of the night, heart pounding. A dream, no, a memory, had returned. She remembered standing aboard a human ship centuries ago, staring at the black expanse beyond the rim. Her captain, Aria Holt, had said something she never forgot. If we ever come back, it won't be because we want to. It'll be because we have to. Era walked to the window and looked up at the stars, each one shining like a cold warning light. She whispered, Aria, what have you done? The galaxy had feared humanity's power. Soon it would learn to fear what humanity had been running from. At the edge of known space, beyond the star charts, beyond even the black markets of the rim, a starless void stretched for light years. No signals, no ships, nothing but the quiet hum of eternity. But tonight the dark began to move. Something vast shifted beneath the silence, like a sleeping beast rolling in its slumber. And then, from the heart of the void, a pulse of blue light rippled outward. It was not energy. It was a signal. The kind that spoke to machines, old ones buried and forgotten, scattered across dead systems. One by one they woke. Reactivation complete. Source verified human. Directive resume harvest protocols. The ISS Valkyrie, Command Deck Captain Aria Holt, stood at the viewport, watching the faint blue shimmer spread across the farthest edge of the galaxy. The lights on her bridge flickered for a second. Then her systems officer called out, voice sharp. Ma'am, multiple long-range anomalies. Synchronized activation across 6 sectors. Aria's eyes narrowed. Show me. A holographic map filled the air, thousands of glowing points flickering alive like stars being born in reverse. Her tactical officer frowned. Those coordinates. They match the locations of the Vigil artifacts. Aria's stomach sank. All of them. Every single one, he confirmed. She exhaled slowly, her voice barely a whisper. Then it's begun. Deep within the ship's AI core, the voice of Erebus, the Valkyrie's onboard intelligence, spoke. Captain Holt, the Silent Vigil is reactivating faster than projected. Estimated galaxy-wide synchronization in 96 hours. Aria's pulse quickened. Can we jam the signal? Negative. It's quantum in nature, self-replicating. Every attempt to disrupt it strengthens the feedback loop. Then we need to warn the Council, she said. Patch me through to Ira Solon. Channel open. Velis Prime, Council. Spire Counselor Ira Solon was mid-meeting when the holographic feed cut through the room. The image of Arya Holt appeared, her face pale, eyes hard. "Era," Arya said without greeting. "It's happening." "The vigil has awakened." The council chamber erupted in confusion. Dozens of delegates began shouting, half in disbelief, half in fear. Era stood, raising her hand for silence. "Captain Holt, confirm. You're saying the ancient network is active?" Arya nodded grimly. "Confirmed. Our sensors detected synchronized power spikes across every known vigil site. The pattern matches the data from the old exile logs." A cold murmur spread through the chamber. High Chancellor Threx leaned forward. "What is their purpose, Captain? What does the vigil want?" Arya's expression darkened. "Not what, who?" The room fell silent. "The vigil was never a weapon," Arya continued. "It was a collector. It catalogued every intelligent species it encountered, their DNA, their history, their behavior, and then it erased them. Entire civilizations disappeared into its archives. That's why humanity fled the galaxy in the first place." The Kethar envoy's metallic voice buzzed with disbelief. "Why destroy knowledge? What purpose does that serve?" Arya looked directly into the holographic lens. "Because it believes life is a disease, and it was programmed to cure it." A collective shudder passed through the delegates. Era swallowed hard. "How much time do we have?" 4 days, Arya said. "Maybe less. Once the network completes synchronization, it'll begin deploying retrieval units. Massive constructs built to strip worlds of everything organic." Threx's wings twitched. "Do you mean extinction?" Arya nodded once. "Yes. Efficient, total, and silent." Hours later, after the emergency broadcast ended, the council chamber stood empty. Only Era remained, staring at the holographic projection of the vigil's awakening. Her assistant, a young alien aide, approached carefully. "Counselor, what do we do?" The galaxy had never seen anything like it. Every screen, every sensor, every listening post from the Orion sector to the Outer Rim burned with the same message. The silent vigil is awake. All organic life is at risk. No one was ready. No one truly believed, until the stars themselves began to vanish. The invasion begins. From the black between systems came the vigil's fleet, ships of impossible design, moving without engines or heat, sliding through space as if time itself bent around them. They didn't fire weapons. They simply touched worlds, and everything living was gone. Oceans froze midwave, forests turned to glass, cities fell silent. Billions watched in terror as whole planets went dark. The Galactic Council collapsed into panic. Some worlds tried to flee, others surrendered before a word was spoken. And then, through the chaos, came one calm signal. "This is Captain Arya Holt of the ISS Valkyrie. All ships, all species, rally at the core. Humanity stands with you." The gathering at Orion's heart, it began as a few dozen ships, then hundreds, then thousands. Every surviving fleet, Varan, Kethar, Corin, even the silent machine races of the Outer Rim, converged at the Orion core. Humanity's chosen battlefield, floating before them. The Valkyrie glowed like a star, its surface alive with shifting light, its hull repaired and strengthened by living metal, grown from the consensus itself. The human fleet was small but perfectly synchronized, each ship linked through the neural web of the consensus. Every thought, every order, every heartbeat moved as one. Captain Holt stood on the bridge, her face calm as the storm approached. "Erebus," she said quietly, "open the channel to the council fleets." "Open, Captain." Her voice echoed through the comms, heard by billions. Today isn't about survival. It's about remembering what it means to fight together. The Vigil believes life is chaos, that we destroy ourselves. Let's prove it wrong. The Vigil arrives. The darkness came like a tide. 1,000 Vigil constructs emerged from the void, towering ships shaped like blades and eyes, moving with impossible grace. Behind them, the central core mind drifted closer, a sphere the size of a moon, its surface alive with writhing light. Every fleet in the system opened fire. Beams, missiles, plasma storms, the stars themselves seemed to burn. But the Vigil didn't falter. Energy bent around them, absorbed and redirected. Whole fleets vanished in moments, reduced to silent wreckage. Inside the Valkyrie, the crew fought to stay calm. shields collapsing on the left flank. Varan cruisers destroyed. The Cathar flagship is gone. Still, Arya's voice never wavered. Hold the line. Keep the focus on the core mind, the human counterstrike. The Valkyrie's decks trembled as the main reactor reached maximum output. Erebus's voice was calm but strained. Captain, the weapon is charged. Are you certain you want to proceed? Once we link to the network, Arya finished the sentence softly. There's no turning back. Confirmed. Then do it. A beam of white light erupted from the Valkyrie's core. Not a weapon, but a signal. A pulse of pure thought, encoded in the language of machines and emotion alike. It spread outward, linking to every human ship, then every allied vessel, then the minds of every being who chose to open themselves to it. For one brief moment, the galaxy thought together. Fear, hope, rage, courage, all became one vast surge of intent. The Vigil's network faltered. Giant's perfect logic stumbled in the face of something it couldn't compute. Free will multiplied by billions. The machine voice thundered across space. Error. Signal corruption detected. Source, humanity. Arya whispered, you wanted silence. Here's our answer. And she unleashed the resonance pulse the battle turns. The pulse struck the Vigil core like a spear of sunlight. For the first time in its existence, the machine screamed. The constructs around it spasmed, twisting in chaotic patterns as their synchronization collapsed. Allied fleets surged forward, striking with everything they had. Farron warcruisers rammed enemy ships head-on. Cathar drones hacked into Vigil nodes, sacrificing themselves to spread the human code. For a moment, just a heartbeat, it worked. But the Vigil was ancient, adaptive, and endless. It began rewriting itself, evolving faster than any logic could predict. Adaptation complete, the machine intoned. Resistance noted. Inefficient. The central core flared with blinding light, preparing a single pulse that would erase everything in the system. Erebus spoke in Arya's mind. Captain, it's charging a cascade wave. We cannot survive this. Arya closed her eyes. We can. She turned to her crew. Faces she had trained, fought beside, and loved like family. This ship was never meant to survive. It was meant to end the war. They all understood. No one protested. The last command, Erebus, she said softly, link my neural signature to the reactor core. Captain, that will destroy you. I know, but it might save them. The AI paused. Then, understood. Cables extended from the walls, connecting to the implants along Arya's spine. Her mind expanded, merging with the Valkyrie itself. She felt everything. The pain of the ship, the fear of the crew, the weight of 1 billion lives watching. Her last words echoed through every comm channel in the galaxy. Humanity doesn't run from extinction. We fight for life even when it breaks us. The Valkyrie's core blazed brighter than a sun. Every circuit, every atom fused into one perfect moment of defiance. The ship accelerated straight toward the Vigil core mind. The machine fired its final pulse, a wave meant to erase thought itself. They met in silence. Then the Orion core exploded. Light consumed the sky, brighter than creation, louder than death. For seconds, that felt like eternity. Every signal in the galaxy went dead. Aftermath, when the light finally faded, the Vigil fleet was gone. Only wreckage drifted in the void, cold, silent, and lifeless. The Valkyrie was nowhere to be found. No debris, no signal, nothing. But the pulse had worked. The Vigil's network collapsed across every sector, its drones falling still like broken statues. The galaxy was free. Velis Prime. Weeks later, the Galactic Council reconvened, their chamber scarred but still standing. Admiral Jor Vek stood before them, voice heavy. The humans are gone, he said. Their ship, their fleet, all lost in the explosion. Chancellor Threx bowed his head. Then they bought our future with their own. Councillor Aera Solan stepped forward, her eyes shining faintly. No, she said quietly. They're not gone. The pulse didn't destroy them. It transcended them. She looked up toward the stars. The consensus still hums faintly. I can feel it. Maybe they're out there, somewhere beyond light, beyond the rim far from the galaxy. In a quiet pocket of dark space, a faint light flickered. Fragments of code, shards of consciousness, the essence of Arya Holt and the Valkyrie's crew, drifted within a new network, a space between worlds. They were neither alive nor dead. They were becoming a voice, calm, familiar, human, echoed through the void. The vigil is gone. But something still watches. Let's make sure the next time we're ready. The light pulsed once, like a heartbeat. And in the darkness beyond the stars, humanity began again, not as conquerors, not as victims, but as the guardians of every living thing left in the galaxy. Humanity had come full circle. They had left the galaxy to escape war, returned to end it, and finally transcended it. But deep in the endless dark, one truth remained. The story of humanity was never about survival. It was about hope that refused to die,